BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
Back for the last UFC of the year. Just before I start with the card, I just want to say that anyone watching this video, 2025 is going to be your year. I promise you that. 2025 is the year you're going to turn everything around and just step it up bigger than you ever have before. So if you're watching this, I just want you guys to know 2025 is going to be your year as well as mine. Before I get started, in our last picks, I'm just going to go over, let's see. I believe we hit on pretty much all of our picks except for, who did we lose on? Yeah, we pretty much hit on everything, right? We took, I think it was maybe Asakura. Yeah, we hit Rachmanov, we hit Gon, we hit Doo Choi, we took Dominic Reyes, we took Movsar Evloev. We took Eric Anders, Kennedy Nzechukwu. Okay, so I told you guys last time I was biased with the Kron Gracie pick because I've been such a fan of Kron Gracie since the jiu-jitsu days. And that was literally the most embarrassing performance I've ever seen. It doesn't get much worse than that. Yeah, man, that was brutal, man. I'm not going to lie. Kron Gracie does have good jiu-jitsu, but he didn't even try to take the fight to the ground. He just kept pulling guard. I mean, when I mean that, because Kron Gracie, he's not a guard player. If you watch his jiu-jitsu, go back, watch his jiu-jitsu, he's not a guard player. He's a guy who, he's a top game guy, right? Like the Carlson Gracie guys. He is a top game fighter. Right, if Paul Craig pulls guard, Diego Lopez pulls guard, there's a few people at a high level that are able to get away with pulling guard. Kron Gracie is not one of those guys. He's a top game guy. He got to the clinch multiple times. He had double underhooks and literally jumped to guard. And if anyone's can speak on this, it's myself. I'm a high-level jiu-jitsu competitor and instructor. I've been doing jiu-jitsu 17 years. Last year I was at the Jiu-Jitsu World Championships in Vegas. I've competed at brown belt at the World Championships, competed at brown belt at the European Championships. So if anyone is able to talk about jiu-jitsu, and it's myself, right? That's literally all I do. I train jiu-jitsu 6 days a week. So if anyone is able to speak on Kron Gracie's jiu-jitsu and what all the things he did wrong, it's myself. And the way I was taught, if you're going to jump to guard, especially in a real fight, you cannot have double underhooks or, because if you have underhooks and you jump to guard, they're able to put their arm on your throat, right? The forearm on the throat, and that's what you've seen with Bryce Mitchell. You had the forearm on the throat, and then that allows you to hit the opponent's head on the back of the canvas, right? If you're going to jump to guard, the most important thing you need to worry about when you're jumping to guard is not allowing the back of the head to hit the ground. In order to do that, you need to have an overhook and wrist control or double overhooks. You cannot pull guard with double underhooks. You just can't, because they're going to get the forearm to the throat. You're going to get slammed, and the back of the head is going to hit the canvas, right? And Kron Gracie, you would think someone is his level of jiu-jitsu, because most blue belt, purple belts probably know that. Like, if I'm going to jump to guard in a real fight, like, you can't allow him to get the forearm to the throat. Extremely crazy, man. And the fact that he got there and he didn't even attempt to take Bryce Mitchell down, like not even a takedown attempt, like you don't want to get to top position here, blows my mind. I still think he can. If he makes the right adjustments, he has to get to the right team to make the right adjustments. If you're training with the Diaz bros, I'm sorry, the Diaz bros, they're going to do great in the early 2000s, but it's 2024, almost 2025. Their MMA skills are extremely low level compared to the guys now. And I'm sorry to say that because I'm a Nick and Nate Diaz fan, especially Nick. Nick was the OG, and now he's like lighting grass on fire, high on whatever. And, you know, that's a conversation for another time. But he literally cannot be training with the Diaz bros. You can't, man, because the Diaz bros got total different styles, and they're not going to work well with Kron Gracie style. If I'm Kron Gracie, you need to go see a guy by the name of Damian Maia, because he literally, Kron Gracie made jiu-jitsu look really bad, and that's an issue because jiu-jitsu is actually extremely effective if done correctly. Like you've seen Pantoja do. Pantoja used his jiu-jitsu phenomenally. Took the back, got the rear naked choke, right? Look how many submissions you've seen in the UFC. So for some people to say, oh, jiu-jitsu doesn't work, no, that's nonsense. Kron Gracie's jiu-jitsu doesn't work, okay? Let's figure that out. You got guys like Cade Rotolo now, Buchecha, that are in MMA. These guys are savages, much higher level than Kron Gracie in jiu-jitsu. And it's just unfortunate, because I'm, big Kron Gracie fan for years. So just seeing his downfall. Rickson Gracie is literally probably hasn't slept since Saturday night because he's very hard on his son. I know he is, but rightfully so, man. That is crazy. But, I don't know. The UFC probably going to cut him now. Probably going to cut him. So this weekend, we got Colby Covington taking on Joaquin Buckley. This one's interesting because Colby Covington is taking this fight on short notice, stepping in for Ian Gary, who stepped it up and fought Rachmanov. So Colby Covington here, his last fight was against the champ, Leon Edwards, and literally for the first 4 rounds, he just tried to strike with Leon and just got pieced up. And then the last round or two, he tried to actually wrestle and did finish the last round on top in a great position. I would like to see him do more of that in this matchup. The issue is, number one, he's getting older. He's got a lot of miles. And number two, Buckley is strong as shit and might be hard to get down. And Buckley's got actually pretty good takedowns himself. And he is on a roll, is Buckley. Buckley's got 5 wins in a row. I believe he's undefeated at welterweight. He's been looking phenomenal. And that is Superman punch he landed on Stephen Wonderboy Thompson was vicious. He's got some big wins, man. Beat Nursultan Rizibov, beat Vicente Luque, finished Vicente Luque. That's impressive, man, because Vicente just looked really good last week. So Joaquin Buckley is a monster at welterweight, and I think the key to victory for Colby Covington is very clear. He has to wrestle. You cannot go out there and strike with a Joaquin Buckley. He's the better striker. So if Colby Covington can win, but he has to wrestle, and Buckley, he's going to go head hunting because he likes knockouts and he's got that big power. So I'm going to go with Joaquin Buckley on this one. I think it's his time, and I really would like to see him getting deeper into that top 5 position because there's some really good matchups with Joaquin Buckley they could make. Like, imagine Joaquin Buckley versus Jack Della. Madalena, like that's a fun fight, man. Cub Swanson taking on Billy Quarantillo. This one, I don't know if this should be the co-main event, but it is what it is. Cub Swanson coming off a split decision loss to Andre Fili. He's a little older now. Is Cub Swanson 41? And at the lighter weight classes, that's tough, man. It's tough to stay active and keep doing the damn thing. Billy did not look good his last fight, though, against Yusuf Zalal. Yeah, I just haven't been too impressed with Billy Q, man. So I'm going to go with Cub Swanson, slight underdog. I know he's 41, but I just don't think Billy Q has been looking that good lately. Especially his last fight did not look good. So I'm going to go with Cub Swanson on that one. Slight underdog. This one, Manel Kape taking on Bruno Silva. Manel Kape is a very good fighter. And, he's got a knockout win over Kaya Sakura, who just fought last week for the title. And his last fight, he lost to our boy Muhammad Makayev, the guy who should be fighting for the flyweight title. I mean, get him back, bro. Like, there's no one else. DJ's not going to come out of retirement. Who are you going to fight, Royval and Moreno for the third time? Bring in Muhammad Makayev, man. I don't care if the matchmakers don't like him, man. The guy's a monster. He's on a, Muhammad Makayev, 36-fight win streak. Since his amateurs, he's got 36 wins in a row. Come on, bro. Give that guy a title shot. And, Muhammad Makayev, Manel Kape actually did really good with Muhammad Makayev. I thought Muhammad Makayev was just going to dominate him, which he did. He won a unanimous decision, but I thought it was going to be even more impressive and decisive. But Manel Kape's for real, man. He's a really good fighter. I think he's going to light Bruno Silva up. So I'll go Manel Kape on that one all day. Up next, Vitor Petrino taking on Dustin Jacoby. I'm going to go against everybody here, and I'm going to bet against Vitor Petrino. His last fight was absolutely pathetic, not going to lie. He got choked out by Anthony Smith his last fight, the Lionheart, and Anthony Smith probably shouldn't be even fighting anymore, according to most people, so I'm going to go with the big underdog, plus 245, Dustin Jacoby. I know his last fight he did get finished by Dominic Reyes, but Dustin Jacoby, he's got really pretty good takedown defense, and he's a glory level kickboxer. And the guys he has lost to are, I think they're better than Vitor Petrino, right? Dominic Reyes, Azamat Mirzakhanov. Mirzakhanov's a monster, right? Lost to him, undefeated Russian. Lost to Khalil Roundtree. Lost a split decision 2 years ago to Khalil Roundtree. Khalil Roundtree was just in a title fight with our boy Poetan. So they're counting out Dustin Jacoby on this one. I don't think you should do that, man. Don't count out Dustin Jacoby. Adrian Yanez taking on Daniel Marcos. I'm going to go with Daniel Marcos on this one because I've not been too impressed with Adrian Yanez lately. Even though he did win his last fight, the Jonathan Martinez fight finished him. Rob Font finished him. And Daniel Marcos is a monster, right? 16-0. He's not the most exciting, not with a lot of finishes, but, I think Daniel Marcos gets that one done. Navajo Sterling taking on Tuco Tokos. I'll go with Navajo Sterling. Michael Johnson here taking on Otman Azatar, the Moroccan. This one is a close one. This one I have a feeling might go to decision. Yeah, Michael Johnson is coming off a win over Darius Flowers. Now he's fighting the Bulldozer, who's coming off 2 straight losses. And, I'm going to go with Michael Johnson on this one. I think the experience factor. I know he is getting older, but he definitely has a lot more experience against higher-level competition than Otman Azatar. Joel Alvarez taking on Drakkar Klose. He's big for the weight class, 6'3". Drakkar Klose only 5'9". And Joel Alvarez, he's a good striker, decent ground game as well. He did have that hard fight with Arman Sarukian and Damir Ismagulov, but other than that, he's been pretty flawless. And, there's no shame losing to a guy like Arman Sarukian fighting for the title. A lot of people think he actually might even be the champion and beat Islam. But, Joel Alvarez is a monster. So I think he wins that one, as the odds do too. Sean Woodson taking on Fernando Padilla. Sean the Sniper, he's been looking real good. He's coming off, he got a nice little win streak, beat Alex Caceres, who is nicknamed Bruce Leroy, and even before that, he beat Charles Air Jourdain, and Charles Jourdain's been actually looking really good lately. So that's impressive that Sean Woodson was able to go in there and beat him. And I think Fernando Padilla, he's not bad too. He's got one loss in his last 4 fights, but over Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson beat him, but he's got a couple good wins, right? Knocked out Julian Arosa. Dars choked Luis Pajillo, beat Cameron Graves. The issue is those guys aren't on the level of a Sean Woodson. So, yeah, you're looking great. fighting people nobody really knows. Julian Erosa, some people know, but yeah, I think Sean Woodson should get this one done. Miles Jones, Felipe Lima. I'll go with Felipe Lima on that one. And the last one I'm going to touch on here is Davy Grant taking on Ramon Taveras. So Ramon Taveras is a guy who came on the Contender Series and had that crazy barn burner fight with Serhi City, the Ukrainian Canadian guy, and then they've rematched in the UFC. So in the Contender Series, he actually lost, and then they rematched Serhi City. He beat Serhi City in the rematch split decision, and now he's taking on Davy Grant. And surprised to see Davy Grant at an underdog here because he has much more experience. The last fight he did lose to Daniel Marcos. But Davy Grant's got some big wins, man. He's beat, Luis Smoka, Rafael Assunção, beat Jonathan Martinez, beat Marlon Chito Vera. So he's got some pretty decent wins, man. He did also lose to Chito Vera in the second fight, but I just think Ramon Taveras hasn't been in there with those kind of level opponents. So I'm going to go with Davy Grant on that one. I'll go with the slight underdog. Because the experience at a high level is, it's a lot, man. So I'll go with Davy Grant on that one. Hopefully we keep this win streak going. If you guys need a place to bet, BetUS, promo code Iceman. Enjoy this last UFC of the year. Let's make that money for Christmas. And, yeah, enjoy the holidays. Out.